Welcome to Wealthing Talks. I am your host, Alicia Castillo Holley, bringing you real-life conversations from Silicon Valley or somewhere around the world. We will talk about disruptors, angel investments, venture capital, and of course, family offices. Join me along with my children, their families, friends, disruptors, and investors as we explore the fascinating world of creating wealth in a completely different and authentic way. Hello, everyone. It is such a pleasure and an honor to introduce you to my friend Ruban. We met at an investment club at an angel group. Ruban has written several books and he has a fascinating story. Ruban, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Thanks, Alicia. It's an honor to be here with you because I remember getting to know through that group, which had about 180 people. For some reason, whatever it is, I don't still remember what it is. It is during the COVID or early stage of the COVID or before that. We connected. I mean, we in the level of humanity and where the backgrounds are, we got connected and we became close friends and started chatting and exchanging information. And I'm so happy and thank you for having me here.
Oh, thank you. What an honor. So tell us about what you're doing and how did you get here?
It's a long story, I would say.
Make it long, make it long.
So if you look at it, I mean, my background, I was born and brought up in a small island in Indian Ocean called Sri Lanka. It used to be Ceylon, and it became Sri Lanka, and it's a beautiful island. But it went through a brutal civil war in 1980s, 90s, 2000s. So I say that story of that brutal war is kind of my life. I was born in early 70s. That's when things started going bad, and I was there at that time. And during my high school, before my high school, my father passed away for a natural cause, and then I worked through a lot of things there, but due to that civil war, we lost our school, our high school. I studied under a tree, and but I was a good student. So that time, my brother, who was an accountant and he was working in Africa, he said, "We don't want to miss your future. Come to Africa." So I got on a plane, went to Botswana in Southern African country, and where I finished my high school. Then I applied to US and said, that is the best country. I had opportunity to go to Canada or Australia or UK because that's a Commonwealth country in Sri Lanka was one of the British colonized country before. But US, we always thought about the great innovation and great part of it. So I applied to University of Minnesota, which is the coldest of cold, coming from the hottest of hot to Minnesota. And then I got lucky to be selected to attend graduate school at Stanford University, where I finished my computer engineering. Since then, we'll talk about the journey afterwards, but I think that is how I got into US and got into technology and got into making things happen.
And what are you doing now?
So at this point, there is a about 30-year gap in between. We'll talk a little bit more about it. So I have, gone through multiple startups successfully. And currently, which I am working on, the main thing I do, which I think we'll talk at the end about, is uh, mentoring, coaching, and helping people achieve their dreams. Mainly underprivileged women entrepreneurs, people of color, immigrants, even in US. I mean, I look at it as a US as a homogeneous people, but no, I think there's a Midwest with South, North, East part of it. There are so much different, so helping those people. So because of my background of coming from these very very difficult situation and the resiliency, and building two companies which exceeded with a value of 1.3 billion dollars, I have that knowledge. So I am mainly sharing that with a lot of people by mentoring and coaching. So that is one of the main thing. While I do invest angel investment in that area, as well as I'm doing a lot of products and companies in AI area, AI, because that is my bread and butter, because I was a computer engineer and I was doing all this. So I have been working on a lot of those area. How do we make this AI, which people talk about all the time, and useful for enterprises, people, and all the money we are spending, we need to see a return on it. So I'm spending time on finding solution to real world problem using AI. So that is one of the area I'm spending a lot of time with.
What do you think is the most misunderstood issue with artificial intelligence?
I think the misunderstood part of it is actually I was listening to some discussion earlier from a Oxford professor earlier today, and he talked about there are two aspects. So one camp thinks AI can solve everything. AI will help with everything, and it knows everything. And the other side of it believes AI is what you feed in is what you get out. So so the main misunderstood, in my opinion, is the masses believing AI can solve all the problem. I think that is a little bit too much in my one angle. The other side of it is, which I really believe is, AI has been helping a lot of people increase their productivity, increase the value. But the foundational thing is, people talk about the training of in the information, it is in the internet and various area. So how that happens is, whatever information is already there, AI trains on that information, and then it comes back and solves help you answer your questions. So till now, most of that access has been, you train on information, then you ask a query, it connects all these different dots and answers you. So it is not there to create new answers or new solution yet, but it can quickly give you, for example, I can give you a good example on this area is for the medical field. I believe that is the exact area for AI to be used very well. Why is that is, so there are billion of people, and there are some of these rare diseases or rare issues don't get very difficult. For example, why do you go to Stanford or Mayo Clinic or Cleveland Clinic? Because they get these special cases. But that information is like for other doctors or other, like a cancer or something like that, it is not known. Like if somebody come with one problem and they say I have a stomach ache and this and this and this, and they will look at it and prescribe normally. But with AI, now you say these are the symptoms of this person with this background, from say is a Sri Lankan male, 55, coming from this, and he's having this problem. The AI can go across the universe and find data, similar people with similar behavior and similar background, and answer those questions and give them a value saying, hey, I have seen these potential cases. Then that gives doctors access to different opinions without going and finding consultants who have worked on this area and answering that. So to me, those areas like that, same thing in legal, there is a lot of data. You can train on them, understand the precedents, and go find those kind of solution. Then same thing in the industrial area. So there are areas which we can go and really do very well and help people and solve the problem. On the other hand, there are new areas which needs more research, more work, and by doing those kind of improvement on top of what we have done, and training on all the first principle thinking, or going on the foundation of physics, chemistry, bio, and then you can create more value also out of the AI. So to me is, yes, AI has been, some people are misunderstanding and some people are thinking it is going to solve all the problem, but I think somewhere in between.
Thank you for the answer. A lot of people get, as you say, a lot of people get overly enthusiastic about AI. So that's the way I view it too. So, and we just went to the JPM. I saw that you were there too. So it's a
Yeah, I mean, I
lot of
met,
thoughts.
yeah, I know. I met few of the people there while I was there, and I was talking to them. It's the same thing. I mean, I have a good friend at Mayo Clinic. He does his investment, and I was talking to him about how AI, so if you look at Mayo Clinic, they are one of the forefront on bringing in technology to be able to use that technology to help solve a lot of these what is it called, very difficult problem or very unheard problem. So what they have done is they have put together partnership between their own companies internally, as well as their investment companies, as well as outside people, by providing access to the data to
Mhm.
all the customers. So by giving that access to those customers with not clarifying each person's name and privacy, with the privacy in mind. So what they have able to do that is bring a lot of these platforms able to use that. So this is exactly what you mentioned, that JP Morgan in the conference, there were a lot of conversation about AI and how it can be utilized, because with trillions of dollar investment in this market, somewhere you had to find a way to solve it. And
Yeah.
if you look at it, on the healthcare, we spend a couple of $1 trillion. A lot of them are middlemen, a lot of them are wastage, a lot of those things. So with AI, that can be, in my opinion, will be improved and at least reduce the cost increases.
Yeah, and also improve the efficacy of treatment. I didn't see a lot of talks. So for our audience, the uh, JP Morgan conference is a big health tech conference in San Francisco that is still, I think it ends, actually it ended today, like
Ended, yeah, yesterday or today, yeah.
today, there was the last one. It's pretty crazy, tons of people talking at tons of events. I did not see enough warnings about what are the risks of using AI blindly, but I think that's just going to come.
I know it is interesting to see that. I think 2 years ago, when I was at JPM again 2 years ago, all talk about is, oh my God, AI is going to do something, so too much harm or some concern and all that. My God, 2 years go by. I don't think much done on that area, but now everybody is talking about is. I mean, this is a conversation also at the CEO level. I was talking to, I don't want to name it, somebody close to me, and there, the CEO comes to their cube and asks them how much AI you are using. The person says, I don't think I should be using that much AI because I have this concern. He said, nope, if you don't use AI, I'll fire you. That kind of conversation now happening in across. I mean, I even heard there are even Meta as well as a couple of other companies had layoffs last few days, thousands of people. Even though they are investing on AI, they are reducing their resources. I mean, that's one of the important part of the big concern for me, of because still need people, you still need guardrails, you still need people to review some of these outcomes, and if you don't do that right, it's a big concern.
Yeah, yeah. I always ask when I use AI, I always ask, that's not true. and I wait for the answer. That's, oh, I'm sorry. But I always do it as a joke. It's like, oh no, that's not true. I don't give any more prompts. I just say that's not true, and he gives us another answer. I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." So I'm like, "Okay." The joke is, it's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I cut your leg. Can I tell you what are the risks of cutting your legs?" Yeah, we'll see what happens. We're gonna laugh at this podcast in a few years.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the personal thing. I'm always interested in people who have gone through unusual pathways about what are the reflections, the important learnings that they've had, especially for the younger people in the audience. Um, if you were to write yourself a letter to yourself, 20 years younger, what are the things that you learned that you didn't know? What were the surprises? What would you tell yourself? Hey, I wanted to tell you this. Do you have any of those?
I mean, I do. I mean, the big one is the people make the difference. There are tons of ideas, tons of approaches and all that. So the people make that difference. So what that mean by is diverse people, diversity of ideas. That is, from different people with a different background. They make the difference a lot. So I have, for example, in my company, the first company, I had to hire because I founded the company. Uh, uh, Sorry, there was a call
Sure.
came in. I founded the company. I was in late 20s, early 30s, and I had to hire people. So I went and hired people from all over the world. Like, I had a guy continued to call me, I'm a redneck from New Jersey. And then there's a guy who migrated as a refugee, parents migrated from Lebanon. Then I had a Taiwanese friend. I had a Vietnam, refugee came here and went to UC Berkeley, and he's my best advisor. Then I had from people from South America. So I had the diverse set of people. And people ask me, because if you look at a lot of startup, or companies, it started going as a one group or one set of people. I always like the diversity of it because that gave me diverse background, diverse knowledge, diverse approach to some of the complex problems. So that is the one thing. And the second one is, if you look at it, I went to Stanford. I'm very proud of it, and the University of Minnesota and Stanford. In They take about 200 to 250 master's student for computer engineering. I was one of them, and if you look at that, I would have been in the low in the totem pole. There are people from the best universities from UC Berkeley's to MIT's and all that, or IIT of India, and top universities. I am coming from University of Minnesota, and if you fast forward last 25 years, I'm one of the maybe five people out of that 200 who have done successfully, even one company to be, I had two companies. So all of these, in my opinion, what I learned is the foundational knowledge and foundational struggles, or resilience you build out, helps you solve these complex problems. Because when you go through a startup, or when you go through this building a company, every day is a different problem. Every day is a different approach to, you have to solve a problem, or customer query, or
Yeah, yeah.
VCs. So how do you go and address that? So to me, that was the biggest one, is the people make the difference, and then you have to figure that out through the journey, and make it happen.
And how do you think we cultivate that resilience and that great? Because you've written a lot about that.
Exactly. So it's interesting to go back. So I try to reflect on what you asked, and I say, "Well, how did you able to do that?" So I started literally working in my father's shop and the farm when I was 9 years old, because we are five boys and two girls in our family, and we had farms and we had a shop. So my father was the owner of it, but we need to go. So before school, we'll go and open the store, and then my dad will come and we'll go to school. After school, we'll go play some cricket and or something, and then we'll come back to close the shop and do the books and all that. So that discipline of able to do multiple things, like if you had to go sometime go and water in the farm, you had to do the irrigation, or go and do harvesting. So you learn those kind of different talent hands-on. People talk about that, able to do this kind of thing. Even though I don't do farming or I don't do harvesting anymore, but I know in my heart, if a problem was thrown at me, I know how to go and approach that physically, mentally, as well as systematically, because systematical thing is very important. And so if so the people, if they are listening to me, there are two kind of people I have seen. Is some people are very smart and all that, every day they have a new idea. That is okay, but if you are building a company, if you want to have people following you and all that, you can't go and undercut them and say, oh, I had a new idea today, do this tomorrow, and the guy start working on it and you come back and do that. No, give them the responsibility, give them the enable them, guide them, and talk to them, and make them, like, for example, one of the problem I was facing at my second company was, we had a nice guy who's our head of like a CTO kind of role. He's a very smart guy and all that, but the problem was, if the answer is not his answer, he doesn't like it. I mean, he wants his answer to be implemented. And I was the guy in the middle, because I had the team, very smart people, but they will do their own way, and that. So he will always battle with me, saying, Ruben, why are you not telling them? You are from Stanford. You know better than. I say, no, no, no. Let me listen to me. If I go and tell them every day, they will do it for me that day. When that doesn't work, they will say it is Ruben's idea. I don't care. Let him figure it out. But if I enable them and if I give them, hey, this is your idea, I like it, go and try. But I have another idea, but I'll tell you. But why don't you try this? If his idea fails, one of two. One of them is he is a pride person. They will try to figure out and fix it. They will work through weekend nights to get it done. If not, so I enable those people. So that is why I look at it. Everything comes back to me is people, people, people. So if you don't enable them, that is the only way to scale companies, scale products. Because if you have two people, say smart people versus out of 200, only you
Uh-huh.
get 2x. But if you have, if you can enable those 200 people to give good input and they own it, that's a magic.
Yeah. And you also learn other ways of doing things.
I
Yeah.
know that is another big one. I mean, again, people don't tell me. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I used to have when I built some companies, I used to have the weekend idea Friday evenings. We used to have a meeting about what went well during the week,
Hmm.
and we had what is a weekend idea, and so many crazy things came, but it helped me think or understand how the team was looking at things. And sometimes it's like, oh, I'm going to take a photography course. And then somebody would come and say, oh, this is a good thing. So also it created a culture of support and thrive outside of the workforce. But I have to admit that I'm very opinionated. And oh my gosh, sometimes it was so hard for me to keep my mouth shut. Has it happened to you?
I'm also very strong-minded,
Yeah.
but I don't come as very opinionated. So what that means is my kids make fun of me saying he knows what he wants to get to, but he won't tell you. In the sense, so I guide them to get to that by asking pointed questions and throwing at it. I don't try to put them down, or I don't do that, but I will keep asking. Okay, you are thinking that. Okay, can you walk me through this? And then you say, okay, if in this one, what happened if this kind? And sometimes we are wrong, yeah, because they
Mhm.
may have the better way of doing that, as well as they have their comfortable way of doing it. Because I went to Stanford, so I might have learned something different. They went to different school, they learn different things and conceptually. So if they have a way of doing it and it can work efficiently for them, I'm fine with it. So be it, because I will help them achieve that. To me, is end goal, because when you are building a company, you are building a product for a customer who will pay to buy the product, and that is the goal. And it's nothing magic about being complex. I have the best idea and all that. I mean, that is, you want to be a scientist. If you want to build a company, you want to build the best product which can get higher margin and profit and succeed. And that is the easy thinking for me versus being my pride, my way or highway, my ego. It never gets in the way.
Yeah, well, that has been the biggest probably learning for me as I age is to learn to keep my mouth closed and
Yeah.
let people do their things and surprise me. So it's really rewarding. But I think it cocomes with wisdom. It
I
doesn't.
know, because one of the thing on that is my daughter is doing PhD at Carnegie Mellon in AI in this
Oh
area.
my
So,
gosh.
so she is like a 30 years younger to me, and so I I hear what she is doing. Some of these, pattern matching, because my background was DSP, digital signal processors, and all those things. So I've done a lot of those things then, but I had to, I one or two time I opened and then I found out she doesn't appreciate it, because for her she's doing something magic and she's doing something new and she's doing something thing. Keep telling her no, no, no. So now, as you said, oh wow, that's a great thing. And then I once in a while throw, have you heard about this theorem or this thing? Because the approach is different, but the chemistry physics didn't change. I mean, to be honest.
I have a sister. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about that. I have a sister that she said whenever I want to say that's not true or that's not right or you're wrong, she says, I think that's wonderful. Tell me more. And she said that, and I said, do you listen to what they say after that? And she said, absolutely not. I still think that's a stupid idea. I just don't say.
I know. It's a difficult part of it, but it's
Yeah,
I mean, there is no reason to put others down or put
yeah,
shut down, because they are passionate about their thing. Eventually, everyone has to decide for themselves. Yeah.
yeah. No, that is true. That is true. Tell us about the future. What are you working on?
Yeah, so there are a couple of areas which I am very passionate about. Is, I think, as I said, about the med tech or medical area, where there can be a lot of cures and all that. So to look at it, I mean, let me put it. I worked on two of these companies. The first one was voice over IP. I did it in early 2000. Voice calls over internet. So that is was bringing people together, because when we went to pitch the idea, because the world was so expensive to communicate, that time, using copper lines or water fiber optics or various things. So I was able to do. The second thing also is the power, the data center. Now we are talking about data center power and all that. So our second company was built on the premise that power can be reduced by changing the system thinking. So we improve the storage and the latency and all that. So by doing that, a lot of compute energy wastage can go away. So I always look at that way. So the way I'm looking at this point is mainly looking at the AI, as well as next one is the quantum computing, and a lot of these coming, because you need a lot of computing and a lot of things. So how do we use that area to make the improvement in this, the technology, the compute? Because I still believe what we are doing at this point on the AI, it's still a brute force way of using these GPUs, graphic processing units, to compute and all that. So me coming from this kind of background, can we think at system level, where to what kind of compute you want to do. Still, you need to do the compute rather than just blindly doing compute and calculating the results and presenting. Can we do some additional work upfront and improve that? And so those kind of area I'm very passionate about, and try to see what technology comes through that and help in that area.
Well, that's fascinating. So I'm sure we'll have a lot of talks about technology going forward in the area that I invest to. So that's a common area. I want to wrap up with a very, I would say, spiritual question. I don't know if you know that when I was 13, I fell off a horse and I was in coma, and I died, but I didn't die fully.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
I got a return ticket. Not yet, not yet. Go
Second
back.
chance.
Do your thing, do your thing. I know, I remember looking at myself, and I was young. I didn't remember looking at myself thinking, oh, shoot, I died. And then waking up, I don't know, a few days later. But, ever since I was very young, that was an opportunity for me to think deeply about who am I? So who am I? Who am I? What is my essence? Because my essence transcend where I am in time and space. So a good example is a lot of people that are listening have not met you, but your essence has been transmitted to them. And then my question then is more of a reflection to you. Who do you want to be when you're no longer here? Who are you? Who's going to be Ruben?
No, I think that's a great question, and I'm starting to think about that. And I think one other thing you talked about at 13, about 8 years ago, I was nearly not here because I had a heart attack, and I was nearly passed away. Luckily, my wife took me to the hospital right time, and I walked in. I was 100% blocked in the Widowmaker, the LAD, and I got the stand, and I think so. I continue to last 10 years. I've been thinking about it already, not just now, but 10 years. So one of the things which I want to do, I have been doing, is mentoring and coaching, and transmitting that positive energy with believe you can do it for diverse set of people. So I mentor between 200 to 300 people simultaneously, in the sense now we can do a lot of asynchronous conversation through LinkedIn, Facebook, WhatsApp, or email, and people can reach out to each me. So across the world they know me, and then I go and give a lot of motivational speeches about building, because coming from Sri Lanka through Africa to US, able to build a billion-dollar companies. How do you do that, and what are the thinking part of it? So since you asked me what I want to be in thought of it, is uh, Ruben, who gave me that hope, and who gave me hands when needed, who gave me some connection, because I established network. I've been here 30 years, like you and many of these great people who have background on different areas, as well as connection of network. So I am able to connect with them, because I was just talking to somebody in the morning, and we were asking about some question, and I said, oh, by the way, I know this person, I should connect with you. And just like that, I mean, it is a simple gesture. And I hear from a lot of people reach out to say, hey, can you recommend for me for this job, or can you find out about this or something? Everybody's like, oh, I don't want, because I don't want to recommend. So but my take is opposite. I say is, absolutely, I will connect with you, but beyond that, it is you had to carry the weight, you had to carry that. And I can come and coach you, and I can tell you what are the things you can do. So to me, what I am leaving, I'm already start building that one, is across the universe. It's no ethnic or geographic boundary, but I want to be known as the person who has, when somebody reach out to me at need, I was there for them to listen. I was there, able to help whatever way. again, it is not mean I hand out my money, because that is hard earned money by myself. I need to protect for my kids and my family. But on the other hand, there are so many things we can do, and I want people to tell that, oh, when I called Ruben, he was there for me. He guided me, or he gave me the connection.
Yeah, very important. Ruben, thank you so much for spending your time with us. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, it is my privilege, because I was so happy when I saw your email asking for this one, because uh, one of the main person I respect in the industry here, because as everybody knows, the VCs and people talk about in very different terms, and for me, I'm honored to know you, and thank you for having me on this.
Yeah, well, this is about you. This is not about me.
But it's still, I appreciate it.
Thank you. How do people contact you?
So yeah, so the main one is, Ruban Kanapathippillai. You will put the contact there. So
Yeah.
the LinkedIn is the best way of starting the conversation with me. And once you go through that couple of exchanges, I will give you my email, or I'll give my number, or WhatsApp, or whatever the contact way to get to that. So the LinkedIn is the best way. My name is long, but Ruban, Ruban, and
Yeah, we'll put
Kanapathippillai.
it we'll put it on the
Yeah, so I think that's the best way, and please reach out to me. And if you are coming through this podcast from Alicia, just make a comment there saying, "Oh, I saw you in this one." So that way I will know, because
Am
as
I gonna get 10% of that, or how is that gonna
I
happen?
10% of the love, because what I found is, most of this time, I mean, you don't make, much anything much out of it, but only thing is you give the goodwill. So I say is, it's all good for me. I mean, they're good for my heart, good for my health.
Yeah, good for everybody. Thank you so much. And we look forward to getting the information about your book when you finish, and your new initiatives.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
one quick one on that,
Go ahead.
maybe in LinkedIn, I have a page called The Accidental Entrepreneur by Ruben. We will put a link to that also. I have written about more than 50, maybe 100 articles, a lot of articles, actually more than 100 articles about different stage of a journey, as well as startup and the process part of it. So you can take a look at it. It is not in a book form yet, but it is published in LinkedIn.
And it's very entertaining. So I really enjoy it. You should continue. Anyway, thank you so very much, Ruben, for being here with us.
Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you so much for listening. Ruben and I go way back. We went to St. Hill Angels together. That's how we met. Completely different technologies. He's more into physics, electronics. I'm more into biology. But we have a shared belief that we can make the world a better place. We were talking recently about how we can use AI for progress and how AI can continue to create divisions. We're also talking about values, and that didn't come through enough in the conversation. I think we need to get back to our values as society, as individuals. We're important, very important in other people's lives, and it is up to us to choose what is the impact we want to have. In these times where there's a lot of anger, concerns, hate, fear, we need to be a voice of calm and peace and support and compassion. And I hope you enjoy this. There's no other ways that a Venezuelan, that is me, that I grew up in Venezuela, with parents who have moved there to move away from wars, whose grandparents would move to another country to move away from wars. And he, at a young age, that also was impacted by wars, went to Botswana. My uncle actually lived in Botswana, and from Sweden, and I'm going to see my aunt in Sweden in a couple of days. So it's very interesting, and he's here in Stanford. So it's very interesting to keep our focus in making the world a better place. This is your host, Alicia Castillo Holley. Thank you so much for staying with us, and I'll see you at the next episode. Bye bye. Thanks for tuning in to our Wealthing Talks. I hope you've enjoyed this conversation. To stay connected, visit us at wealthing.com. This is Alicia Castillo Holley, your host, and until next time, yours in Wealthing.